The morning I turned 20, I woke up expecting birthday cake and family hugs in our suburban Phoenix kitchen. Instead, I found an empty house stripped bare of furniture and memories. On the lonely kitchen counter sat a handwritten note from my parents, David and Sarah, that shattered my world in 8 devastating words. Michal, we can't support you anymore. You're 20 now. You'll figure it out. Don't contact us. My parents' older brother, Brandon, and younger sister, Jessica, had vanished without warning, abandoning me on my birthday like unwanted baggage. I stood in that hollow kitchen for what felt like hours, reading and rereading those cruel words until they burned themselves into my memory. The silence felt suffocating. No birthday wishes, no explanation, no goodbye. Just emptiness echoing through rooms that had once been filled with laughter and conversation. Walking through each room of our 3-bedroom ranch house, I discovered the true extent of their calculated abandonment. My parents' bedroom stood completely vacant, not even dust outlines, marking where their bed and dresser had been. Brandon's room, once cluttered with football trophies and band posters, now contained nothing but carpet indentations. Jessica's space, previously overflowing with art supplies and stuffed animals, had been gutted down to bare walls. Only my bedroom remained untouched, as if they had carefully preserved one small corner of my existence while erasing every trace of their own. My clothes hung in the closet, my computer sat on the desk, my books lined the shelves. But everything that connected me to them had been systematically removed. The refrigerator hummed emptily. The pantry shelves stood bare. Even family photographs had been stripped from walls, leaving behind faded rectangles on the paint where memories once hung. They had taken everything that mattered while leaving me with just enough to survive. I tried calling each family member desperate for explanation or reassurance. Dad's phone went straight to a disconnected number message. Mom's did the same. Brandon and Jessica's phones produced identical results. They had planned this abandonment, with military precision cutting off every avenue of communication. Social media offered no comfort either. Their Facebook profiles had vanished, Instagram accounts deleted. It was as if my family had been erased from existence, leaving me questioning whether our years together had been real or some elaborate dream. The first week passed in a blur of shock and desperation. I discovered they had canceled all utilities scheduled for the following Friday. The lease on our rental house would expire in 30 days with no renewal. They had even cleaned out the shared bank account, where I kept money for my part-time job at the movie theater. I walked to that job on shaking legs, knowing I needed income more than ever. My manager, a kind woman named Carol, noticed my distress immediately. When I explained my situation, she offered extra shifts and advanced my paycheck to help cover immediate expenses. Her unexpected kindness reminded me that compassion still existed in the world, even when it felt like my own family had abandoned basic human decency. Surviving became my new obsession. I bought an air mattress and sleeping bag from a thrift store, transforming my empty house into a makeshift shelter. Ramen noodles and peanut butter sandwiches became my primary sustenance. I showered in darkness to avoid running up the electric bill that I now had to cover alone. Our elderly neighbor, Mrs. Patterson, knocked on my door during my second week of isolation. She had noticed the moving trucks 3 days before my birthday and wondered about my family's sudden departure. When I explained what happened, her weathered face crumpled with sympathy and outrage. "That's not how you treat family," she said firmly, inviting me for dinner that evening. Over pot roast and mashed potatoes, she shared stories of raising 6 children during difficult times. Her husband had died young, leaving her to manage everything alone. "You're stronger than you know, Michal," she assured me. "This horrible situation doesn't define your worth or your future." Mrs. Patterson became my unexpected lifeline during those first devastating weeks. She taught me practical skills like budgeting and grocery shopping. She helped me research community resources for young adults in crisis. Most importantly, she listened without judgment when I needed to process the emotional devastation of being discarded by the people who were supposed to love me unconditionally. 2 weeks after my birthday, while cleaning out old boxes in my closet, I discovered something that changed everything. Hidden beneath childhood keepsakes, I found an envelope with my name written in Brandon's familiar handwriting. My hands trembled as I opened it, revealing $2,000 in cash and a note that brought tears to my eyes. "I'm sorry, little brother," Brandon had written. "I couldn't stop them, but I saved what I could. Use this to survive. I believe in you." B. That money represented more than financial assistance. It proved that at least one family member had cared enough to risk defying our parents' cruel plan. Brandon had secretly gathered his own savings to help me survive their abandonment. His gesture planted the first seed of hope in my devastated heart. Sitting on my air mattress that night, I made a decision that would change my life forever. Instead of spending Brandon's money on temporary comfort, I would invest it in my future. I researched community college programs and discovered their computer science courses fit perfectly within my budget. If my family believed I needed to figure life out independently, I would prove them right in ways they never imagined. 18 months later, my life looked completely different. Brandon's money had bought me entry into Phoenix Community College, where I discovered an unexpected passion for programming and web development. What started as a practical survival strategy evolved into genuine fascination with technology and its potential to solve real-world problems. I moved into a tiny studio apartment in a complex Popular with other community college students. The space measured only 400 square feet, but it felt like a palace compared to sleeping alone in that empty house. My neighbors included other young people pursuing education despite financial challenges. We formed an informal support network, sharing textbooks, cooking group meals, and celebrating each other's academic victories. Working multiple jobs while attending classes full-time tested every limit of my endurance. I kept my movie theater position for weekend shifts, picked up tutoring work at the College Learning Center, and started doing basic web design for local small businesses. Sleep became a luxury I could rarely afford, but every exhausting day brought me closer to independence. My programming skills developed rapidly through obsessive study and practice. While classmates went to parties, I spent nights learning advanced coding languages and building practice applications. The logic and structure of programming appealed to my organized mind, offering clear problems with definable solutions. Unlike family relationships, code behaved predictably when you understood its rules. During my second semester, I created my first mobile application, a simple task management tool for college students. The app helped users organize assignments, track deadlines, and balance academic responsibilities with work schedules. Nothing revolutionary, but it solved real problems for people in situations similar to mine. To my surprise, the app gained modest success in local college communities. Students appreciated its intuitive design and practical features. Within 6 months, it had generated enough revenue to cover my basic living expenses, reducing my dependence on multiple jobs and allowing more focus on advanced coursework. The holidays proved emotionally challenging. Thanksgiving and Christmas highlighted my solitude in ways that regular days did not. While classmates traveled home to family celebrations, I spent those days alone in my apartment, trying not to think about what my parents and siblings might be doing without me. Mrs. Patterson invited me for holiday meals, providing comfort and tradition when I needed them most. But I also discovered unexpected strength in my independence. Making decisions without family input forced me to trust my own judgment and develop confidence in my abilities. I learned to celebrate personal victories, even small ones, without needing external validation. Each programming milestone, each successful project, each academic achievement belonged entirely to me. My social life gradually improved as I formed friendships with other driven students. My roommate Tyler, a business major from a similar working-class background, became particularly close. We supported each other through difficult coursework and financial stress, proving that chosen family could provide support when biological family failed. After completing my associate degree with honors, I enrolled in an intensive coding boot camp that promised advanced skills and industry connections. The program cost significantly more than community college, but my app revenue and careful savings made it possible. I was determined to transform my amateur programming abilities into professional expertise. The boot camp introduced me to other ambitious developers and entrepreneurs. Networking events connected me with successful people in the tech industry who offered mentorship and career advice. For the first time since my family's abandonment, I felt part of a community that valued my contributions and potential. During the program's final month, something unexpected happened that shattered my carefully maintained emotional distance from my family's situation. I received a message through an encrypted messaging app from someone claiming to be Jessica, my younger sister. My hands shook as I read her words. "Michal, it's really me," the message began. "I know you probably don't want to hear from any of us after what Mom and Dad did. I'm 18 now, and I finally escaped that situation. I need to tell you the truth about what really happened to our family. Can we meet somewhere safe?" My heart raced as conflicting emotions flooded through me. Anger at being contacted after years of silence, hope at reconnecting with Jessica, fear that this might be some cruel trick. But curiosity ultimately won. I agreed to meet her at a neutral location, a busy coffee shop near the university. Jessica looked older than I remembered, but her eyes still held the same kindness I recalled from our childhood. She hugged me tightly, tears streaming down her face as she apologized repeatedly for the family's actions. Then she revealed information that changed everything I thought I knew about our abandonment. "Uncle Thomas made them do it," she explained quietly, glancing around nervously. "He told Mom and Dad that if they didn't force you to become independent, he would cut off all financial support and call in the loans he'd given them. They were deep in debt from Dad's failed business ventures. Thomas convinced them that leaving you would make you stronger and more successful." The revelation hit me like a physical blow. My parents hadn't abandoned me out of cruelty or indifference. They had been manipulated by our wealthy Uncle Thomas, my father's older brother, who had always controlled family dynamics through money and intimidation. Jessica described years of psychological manipulation where Thomas had gradually gained power over our parents' financial decisions. "Brandon tried to fight the plan," Jessica continued. "That's why he left you the money. But Thomas threatened to destroy his college scholarship if he interfered. Mom and Dad were convinced they were doing what was best for you, even though it broke their hearts." This new information complicated my feelings dramatically. Instead of clear anger toward obviously cruel parents, I now faced a more complex reality involving manipulation, desperation, and misguided love. Uncle Thomas had orchestrated our family's destruction for his own twisted reasons, using financial pressure to control everyone's behavior. Jessica also revealed that she had spent the last 3 years documenting Thomas's manipulation and abuse. She had secretly recorded conversations and saved threatening text messages. Now that she was legally an adult and free from his control, she wanted to expose his actions and help heal our broken family. As we talked through the afternoon, I learned more disturbing details about Thomas's long-term manipulation. He had systematically isolated family members from each other, fed them false information about each other's feelings and intentions, and used debt to maintain control over their decisions. Our abandonment had been just one step in his larger plan to dominate everyone in our extended family. "I've been tracking your success," Jessica admitted. "I saw the articles about your app and your college achievements. Thomas has been watching too. I think he's planning something, Michal. He always finds ways to benefit from other people's success." Her warning sent chills through me. Just as my life was stabilizing and my future looked bright, the specter of family manipulation threatened to return. But this time, I wasn't a powerless 20-year-old. I had skills, resources, and most importantly, knowledge of Thomas's methods. Jessica and I exchanged contact information and made plans to stay in regular communication. She was attending college on academic scholarships, having excelled in school despite the family chaos. Like me, she had transformed trauma into motivation for success. Driving home that evening, I felt a strange mixture of relief and apprehension. Relief at learning my parents hadn't simply discarded me out of cruelty, apprehension about what Uncle Thomas might be planning, but also determination to protect myself and help my family break free from his destructive influence once and for all. 3 years after my family's devastating abandonment, my life had transformed beyond my wildest expectations. My fitness tracking application, Pulse Goal, had evolved from a simple college project into a viral sensation downloaded by over 2 million users worldwide. The app combined workout tracking, nutrition monitoring, and social motivation features in ways that resonated powerfully with health-conscious Americans. What started as a personal tool to maintain my physical fitness during stressful coding bootcamp days had grown into a comprehensive wellness platform. Users loved its intuitive interface, personalized workout recommendations, and community features that connected fitness enthusiasts across the country. Pulse Goal filled a gap in the market by focusing on sustainable lifestyle changes rather than extreme fitness transformations. The business success felt surreal after years of surviving on ramen noodles and shared textbooks. My company's valuation had reached $8 million, officially making me a millionaire before my 24th birthday. Financial advisors, investors, and business journalists suddenly wanted my attention and opinions. The same young man abandoned with nothing but an air mattress now employed 12 people and generated substantial revenue. I moved from my tiny studio apartment into a beautiful 2-bedroom condo in upscale Scottsdale. Floor-to-ceiling windows offered stunning views of the desert landscape and city skyline. The modern kitchen featured granite countertops and stainless steel appliances that would have seemed impossible luxuries just a few years earlier. A home office provided dedicated space for managing my growing business operations. Despite the material improvements, I remained grounded in the financial discipline learned during my hardest days. Instead of buying flashy cars or expensive clothes, I invested wisely and maintained modest living expenses relative to my income. Mrs. Patterson's lessons about budgeting and saving had shaped my relationship with money permanently. My professional team included talented developers, marketing specialists, and customer service representatives who shared my commitment to creating genuinely helpful technology. We worked from a modern office space in downtown Phoenix, fostering a collaborative culture focused on innovation and user satisfaction. Industry recognition followed with Pulse Goal winning several app development awards and earning features in major technology publications. The local business community embraced my success story enthusiastically. Phoenix Business Journal named me Young Entrepreneur of the Year, highlighting my journey from abandoned college student to successful tech founder. Speaking opportunities at conferences and networking events connected me with other entrepreneurs and investors throughout Arizona and beyond. Dating became easier with increased confidence and financial stability. I met Sarah Chen, a marketing professional working for a nonprofit organization focused on youth development. Her intelligence, compassion, and independence attracted me immediately. Unlike previous relationships complicated by my financial stress and emotional baggage, this connection felt healthy and balanced from the beginning. Jessica and I maintained regular contact through secure messaging, sharing updates about our respective academic and professional achievements. She was excelling in her psychology studies while continuing to document Uncle Thomas's manipulative behaviors toward other family members. Her research revealed patterns of financial control and emotional abuse spanning multiple generations. The success felt meaningful, partly because I had achieved it independently, without family connections or inherited advantages. Every milestone represented personal growth and hard-earned skills. The abandonment that once felt like the end of my world had somehow forced me to develop capabilities I never knew I possessed. But success also brought unexpected visibility that would soon complicate my carefully constructed life. Business magazine articles and conference presentations made my achievements public knowledge. Social media profiles showcased my company's growth and personal story. I had become a recognizable figure in Phoenix's entrepreneurial community. One Tuesday morning in late September, everything changed again. I was reviewing user engagement statistics in my office when my assistant knocked on the door with an unusual expression. "Michal, there are some people here claiming to be your family. They don't have an appointment, but they're insisting they need to see you immediately." My stomach dropped as David and Sarah walked into my office, followed by Brandon. They looked older than I remembered stress lines, marking faces that once seemed younger and more carefree. But their expressions carried an unsettling mixture of pride and expectation that immediately put me on guard. "Michal, honey, look at this amazing office," my mother said, surveying the modern furniture and technology displays. "We always knew you'd be incredibly successful someday. We're so proud of everything you've accomplished." The casual tone, as if 3 years of abandonment and silence were just a minor misunderstanding, shocked me speechless for several moments. They acted as if they had simply been away on vacation rather than completely cutting me out of their lives during my most vulnerable period. "We brought you something special," my father added, producing an expensive watch from a jewelry store box. "A little celebration gift for our successful son. We've been following your achievements in the business magazines. The whole family is just amazed by what you've built here." Brandon remained quiet during his parents' performance, his eyes meeting mine with an expression that mixed guilt, shame, and pleading. He looked uncomfortable with the entire situation, but seemed powerless to challenge their narrative. I struggled to process their sudden reappearance and the complete absence of acknowledgement regarding their abandonment. No apology, no explanation, no recognition of the pain they had caused. Just immediate assumption that they could seamlessly reintegrate into my life and success. "Where have you been for 3 years?" I asked quietly, my voice barely controlled. "Oh, honey, we've been right here in Phoenix," Mom replied brightly. "We moved into a smaller place after you became independent, but we've been watching your progress from a distance. We didn't want to interfere while you were building your wonderful business." Their revised history felt like gaslighting designed to minimize their cruelty and maximize their access to my current success. They presented my abandonment as thoughtful parenting rather than devastating rejection. The expensive gift and praise felt like manipulation tactics rather than genuine emotion. During the following weeks, my parents and Brandon launched an increasingly aggressive campaign to reestablish their place in my life. They attended my business events, uninvited, introduced themselves to my colleagues as proud family members, and regularly appeared at my office with gifts and suggestions for spending time together. Their financial motivation became obvious through casual comments about their current struggles and subtle hints about the wonderful things we could do together with my resources. They mentioned failed business investments, mounting credit card debt, and dreams of starting over with better opportunities. Every conversation steered toward topics that highlighted their needs and my ability to help. I hired a private investigator to learn more about their situation during my absence. The report revealed devastating financial problems stemming from a series of poor business decisions and excessive spending. They faced possible bankruptcy within months unless significant money became available quickly. Their sudden interest in rebuilding our family relationship coincided perfectly with their desperate financial circumstances. Brandon finally requested a private meeting where he could speak honestly without parental pressure. We met at a quiet restaurant where he confirmed my worst suspicions about their motivations and revealed additional disturbing information. They've been planning this reunion ever since your first business magazine article came out, he admitted miserably. Dad found an attorney who thinks they can claim parental rights to some of your business success. They believe they're entitled to financial support because they raised you for 20 years. The legal threat crystallized my worst fears about their intentions. They weren't seeking genuine reconciliation or family healing. They wanted access to my wealth and were prepared to use legal manipulation to get it. The same people who had abandoned me with nothing now claimed ownership of everything I had built independently. What about you, Brandon? I asked directly. Are you part of this plan? I don't know what to do, he replied honestly. I love them and I love you. I never wanted any of this to happen. But they're my parents too, and they're desperate. Thomas is still controlling everything, from behind the scenes pushing them toward this legal action. The mention of Uncle Thomas confirmed Jessica's warnings about his continued manipulation of our family dynamics. He had orchestrated my abandonment, and now seemed to be engineering this legal assault on my success. The pattern revealed his determination to benefit from my achievements while maintaining control over everyone else. As I drove home that night, I realized my comfortable new life was about to become a battlefield. The family that had discarded me when I needed them most now wanted to claim ownership of what I had built without them. But this time, I had resources, knowledge, and allies to fight back. The scared 20-year-old boy they had abandoned no longer existed. 6 months after my family's unwelcome return, their manipulation reached a level that forced me to take decisive legal action. What began as awkward family dinners and uncomfortable gifts had escalated into outright extortion attempts and public harassment campaigns designed to pressure me into financial compliance. My parents hired Bradley Morrison, an aggressive attorney known for pursuing questionable family law cases involving wealthy defendants. Morrison specialized in what he called family equity litigation, arguing that successful adult children owed compensation to parents who had invested in their upbringing. His legal theory claimed that my business success resulted directly from 20 years of parental investment in my education, housing, and emotional development. The lawsuit they filed against me contained claims so outrageous they bordered on fantasy. According to their legal documents, I owed them a minimum of $2 million in compensation for their sacrificial investment in my development. They claimed emotional distress from my alleged abandonment of family relationships and sought ongoing financial support equivalent to 30% of my annual business income. Morrison's strategy involved rewriting the history of my abandonment to portray my parents as thoughtful mentors who had encouraged my independence through tough love parenting. Their legal narrative completely ignored the devastating note, the stripped house, and the disconnected phones. Instead, they claimed they had simply graduated me to full adulthood while maintaining loving support from appropriate distance. The lawsuit's most offensive element involved character assassination, designed to portray me as an ungrateful child who had cruelly rejected loving parents. Morrison filed affidavits describing fictional scenarios where I had supposedly refused their offers of help and relationship. They painted themselves as heartbroken parents whose successful son had become too proud to acknowledge their contributions. Jessica provided crucial support by agreeing to testify about the true circumstances of our family's abandonment and Uncle Thomas's manipulation. Her documentation of threatening messages and recorded conversations offered concrete evidence contradicting their revised narrative. But I worried about exposing her to family retaliation and legal pressure. I hired Amanda Rodriguez, one of Phoenix's most respected family attorneys, to defend against their frivolous claims. Amanda's reputation for thorough preparation and aggressive courtroom advocacy made her the perfect choice for exposing the truth behind their legal manipulation. Her initial case assessment confirmed my suspicions about their motivations and tactics. This lawsuit has nothing to do with family relationships and everything to do with accessing your wealth," Amanda explained during our first strategy meeting. "Morrison knows his legal theories are weak, but he's banking on your desire to avoid public embarrassment and family conflict. He wants you to settle quickly rather than fight publicly." The discovery process revealed disturbing details about my family's financial desperation and their calculated approach to exploiting my success. Bank records showed mounting debts from failed business ventures, credit card obligations exceeding $60,000, and mortgage payments they could no longer afford. Their financial crisis had reached catastrophic levels. More concerning was evidence of their systematic preparation for legal action against me. They had been collecting information about my business operations, documenting my public statements about independence, and building their case for months before filing suit. The planned nature of their attack demonstrated premeditation rather than desperate impulse. Local media covered our family legal battle with sensationalized headlines about millionaire son versus struggling parents. Reporters treated the story like entertainment, focusing on dramatic conflict rather than underlying manipulation and abuse. The coverage created additional stress while potentially influencing public opinion against me. Brandon's position became increasingly difficult as court proceedings intensified. He remained caught between loyalty to our parents and recognition of their wrongdoing. His testimony would be crucial for establishing the truth about our family's history, but I understood his reluctance to destroy relationships with people he still loved, despite their flaws. During depositions, Morrison attempted to paint me as a heartless opportunist who had used family resources for personal gain, before discarding the people who had supported me. His questions focused on birthday parties they had provided, school clothes they had purchased, and emotional support they had offered during my childhood. He tried to create a narrative where my success stemmed entirely from their sacrifices. Amanda's counter strategy involved methodically dismantling their revised history through concrete evidence and witness testimony. She documented their systematic abandonment, the cruel note, the stripped house, and their refusal to provide any contact information. Mrs. Patterson proved to be a powerful witness describing their callous departure and my subsequent struggle for survival. The legal battle's most shocking revelation came during routine discovery when Amanda's investigators uncovered financial documents connecting Uncle Thomas to the lawsuit's funding. Bank records showed that Thomas had provided $50,000 to cover Morrison's legal fees and court costs. He was literally paying for the legal attack against me. Further investigation revealed that Thomas had been secretly coordinating the entire strategy through encrypted communications with Morrison and my parents. He had researched my business operations, identified potential legal vulnerabilities, and developed a plan for claiming parental rights to my success. The abandonment and reunion were both part of his larger scheme to access my wealth through family manipulation. Thomas's involvement transformed our family dispute into something much more sinister. This wasn't simply desperate parents seeking financial help from their successful son. It was a coordinated attack orchestrated by a wealthy manipulator who had been pulling our family strings for decades. He saw my success as an opportunity to profit through legal extortion. Amanda immediately filed motions to include Thomas as a defendant in our counter lawsuit, exposing his role in funding and coordinating the attack against me. We argued that his manipulation constituted fraud conspiracy and intentional infliction of emotional distress. The case shifted from family law to complex civil litigation involving multiple parties and criminal behavior. Jessica's testimony became even more crucial as we prepared to expose Thomas's long-term pattern of family manipulation and abuse. Her documented evidence of his threatening behavior and financial control provided the foundation for criminal referrals to law enforcement. But we also worried about her safety, as Thomas realized the scope of her evidence against him. Brandon struggled with the revelation of Thomas's involvement because it complicated his understanding of our parents' motivations. Were they willing participants in Thomas's scheme, Or were they also victims of his manipulation? The answer would determine how I viewed potential family reconciliation after the legal battle concluded. The courthouse became our regular battlefield, as depositions, hearings, and motion arguments consumed weeks of preparation and stress. Amanda's methodical approach gradually exposed the truth behind the lawsuit while building our case for significant damages against Thomas. But the emotional toll of fighting my own family in public remained devastating. As we prepared for trial, I realized this legal battle represented more than just protecting my financial assets. It was about establishing boundaries against manipulation, holding people accountable for their actions, and determining whether genuine family healing was possible after so much betrayal. The scared young man, abandoned at 20, had grown strong enough to fight back against the people who had once controlled his life completely. The courtroom battle intensified as Amanda Rodriguez built her case exposing Uncle Thomas's decade-long pattern of family manipulation and financial control. Through meticulous investigation and strategic witness preparation, she transformed our defense from a simple family money dispute into a comprehensive exposé of systematic abuse and conspiracy. Amanda's legal strategy focused on demonstrating that Thomas had systematically destroyed healthy family relationships to maintain power over everyone's financial and personal decisions. Bank records spanning 15 years revealed loans he had provided to my parents, always with interest rates and terms that created dependency rather than genuine assistance. He had positioned himself as the family's financial savior while engineering their reliance on his continued support. The investigation uncovered Thomas's manipulation techniques in disturbing detail. He had regularly fed family members false information about each other's attitudes and intentions, creating artificial conflicts that prevented natural alliances against his control. My parents believed I resented their parenting. Brandon thought I blamed him for the abandonment. Jessica had been told that I wanted nothing to do with any family members ever again. Financial records revealed that Thomas had deliberately sabotaged my father's business ventures by providing bad advice while appearing to offer helpful guidance. He had encouraged risky investments, introduced Dad to unreliable business partners, and withheld crucial support at critical moments. The pattern suggested intentional destruction designed to increase his control over their lives. Amanda's team interviewed other family members who confirmed Thomas's manipulative behavior across multiple relationships and generations. His ex-wife described similar patterns of financial control and emotional manipulation during their marriage. Adult children from his first marriage had cut off all contact after years of psychological abuse disguised as family leadership. The legal discovery process revealed encrypted communications between Thomas and Bradley Morrison that proved their coordination in planning and funding the lawsuit against me. Thomas had specifically instructed Morrison to pursue maximum financial damage while avoiding any acknowledgement of the abandonment circumstances. He wanted to profit from my success without taking responsibility for the trauma his manipulation had caused. Jessica's testimony provided the most compelling evidence of Thomas's abusive behavior because she had systematically documented his threats and controlling tactics over several years. Her recordings captured him explicitly threatening to destroy family relationships if members didn't comply with his demands. The audio evidence removed any doubt about his role in orchestrating our family's dysfunction. During her deposition, Jessica described years of psychological manipulation where Thomas had convinced family members that their individual happiness depended on following his guidance and maintaining family unity under his leadership. He had positioned himself as the wise patriarch, protecting everyone from their own poor judgment, when in reality he was exploiting their vulnerabilities for personal control. Brandon's internal conflict reached a breaking point as evidence mounted against Thomas's manipulation of our entire family system. He had always suspected that Thomas's advice and financial support came with hidden costs, but the legal discovery process revealed the full scope of the damage. Brandon realized that many of his own life decisions had been influenced by Thomas's subtle manipulation rather than his genuine preferences. The emotional weight of confronting decades of family dysfunction while simultaneously defending against legal attack created enormous stress for everyone involved. Jessica struggled with guilt about exposing Thomas's behavior, even though she knew it was necessary for family healing. Brandon grappled with anger toward Thomas while mourning the loss of illusions about family relationships he had cherished. My parents' position became increasingly precarious as evidence mounted regarding Thomas's role in funding and orchestrating their lawsuit against me. They faced the uncomfortable reality that their legal attack was being directed by the same person who had manipulated them into abandoning me 3 years earlier. The pattern of control and exploitation was undeniable. Amanda's investigation also revealed that Thomas had been monitoring my business success through private investigators hired to track my professional activities and financial status. He had detailed reports about Pulse Goal's growth, my personal assets, and my lifestyle choices. The surveillance suggested long-term planning rather than opportunistic exploitation of a family dispute. The evidence of Thomas's systematic manipulation created opportunities for potential criminal prosecution beyond our civil lawsuit. Amanda coordinated with law enforcement officials who showed interest in investigating charges related to fraud, conspiracy harassment, and financial elder abuse. Thomas's pattern of behavior suggested violations of both state and federal criminal laws. But the most shocking revelation came when Brandon finally decided to testify honestly about Thomas's treatment of our family throughout our childhood. During cross-examination, the emotional pressure of years of hidden trauma became overwhelming, and he broke down completely on the witness stand. He hurt us. Brandon sobbed, his composure finally cracking after years of maintaining family loyalty. He hurt all of us. When we were kids, he would threaten to take everything away if we didn't do exactly what he wanted. He said our family would be homeless and starving without his help. He made us believe we were worthless without him. Through tears and halting words, Brandon revealed that Thomas had physically disciplined him throughout childhood, using methods that crossed the line from parental guidance into abuse. He described being locked in dark rooms for hours as punishment for questioning Thomas's authority. He admitted that Thomas had threatened to destroy his college scholarship opportunities if he resisted the plan to abandon me. The night before Michal's birthday, Thomas made us practice what we would say if anyone asked questions, Brandon continued. He had scripted answers about tough love and independence. He said if we didn't follow the plan exactly, he would make sure our family lost everything. We were terrified of him, but we were also terrified of being homeless. Brandon's testimony revealed that the abandonment plan had been Thomas's idea from the beginning, presented to my parents as necessary discipline that would ultimately benefit my character development. Thomas had convinced them that leaving me would force me to discover inner strength and develop independence that would serve me throughout life. He had framed cruelty as kindness. The courtroom fell silent as Brandon described the psychological torture of pretending not to care about my welfare while secretly agonizing about my safety and survival. He had wanted to help me directly, but feared Thomas's retaliation against the entire family. The money he had hidden for me represented the only act of defiance he could manage without triggering Thomas's wrath. I never stopped loving my brother, Brandon said, looking directly at me. Not for one single day. But Thomas made us believe that showing love would hurt Michal more than helping him. He convinced us that being cruel was the same as being loving. He destroyed our ability to trust our own hearts. Brandon's emotional breakdown and honest testimony marked a turning point in both the legal proceedings and our family's understanding of our shared trauma. For the first time, the full scope of Thomas's manipulation was exposed publicly, creating opportunities for healing alongside justice. But it also intensified the legal battle as Thomas realized his carefully constructed facade of family leadership was crumbling permanently. Amanda immediately moved to include Brandon's testimony about childhood abuse in our expanded lawsuit against Thomas, arguing for additional damages related to intentional infliction of emotional distress and child endangerment. The case was evolving from family financial disputes into comprehensive accountability for decades of psychological abuse and manipulation. As we prepared for the final phase of trial proceedings, I realized that winning this legal battle would require not just protecting my financial assets, but also helping my family break free from Thomas's control permanently. The scared young man abandoned at 20 was now strong enough to fight for everyone who had been victimized by the same manipulation that had once destroyed his own life. The final phase of our legal battle brought revelations that transformed the entire case from a family money dispute into a comprehensive expose of Uncle Thomas's criminal manipulation spanning decades. Amanda Rodriguez's methodical investigation had uncovered evidence of fraud, conspiracy, and systematic abuse that caught the attention of federal law enforcement agencies. Thomas's scheme unraveled completely when forensic accountants discovered he had been embezzling money from a family trust established by our late grandfather. For 20 years, he had used his position as trustee to siphon funds that should have supported extended family members during emergencies and major life events. The stolen money had financed his lifestyle while creating artificial scarcity that made family members dependent on his personal generosity. The trust documents revealed that my college education should have been fully funded through the legitimate family funds Thomas had been stealing. Instead of accessing those resources, my parents had been manipulated into believing they needed Thomas's personal loans to cover educational expenses. He'd created false financial crises while hiding the resources that could have solved them naturally. Amanda's investigation also uncovered evidence that Thomas had been manipulating family members' medical decisions by withholding information about health insurance benefits available through the family trust. Several relatives had suffered financial hardship from medical bills that should have been covered by trust provisions. His control extended beyond emotional manipulation into life-threatening medical neglect. The federal investigation expanded when investigators discovered Thomas had been using family members' personal information to commit identity fraud, opening credit accounts and conducting business transactions without authorization. My parents' debt problem stemmed partially from fraudulent accounts opened in their names to fund Thomas's business investments. He had destroyed their credit while profiting from their identities. Brandon and Jessica provided additional testimony describing Thomas's history of threatening violence against family members who questioned his authority. Both recalled incidents where Thomas had physically intimidated relatives during family gatherings, creating an atmosphere of fear that prevented anyone from challenging his decisions or seeking help from outside authorities. The psychological manipulation techniques Thomas employed were sophisticated and systematic. Amanda brought in expert witnesses who identified classic patterns of narcissistic abuse, financial exploitation, and family systems manipulation. These experts explained how Thomas had isolated family members from each other, while positioning himself as the sole source of truth and security. The evidence mounted to levels that shocked even experienced law enforcement officials investigating white-collar crime. Thomas had essentially operated a criminal enterprise disguised as family leadership, stealing money, manipulating relationships, and exploiting vulnerabilities for personal power and financial gain. The scope of his crimes extended far beyond our immediate family situation. My parents faced a moment of reckoning as the full extent of Thomas's manipulation became public knowledge. They could no longer deny their role in abandoning me or claim ignorance about Thomas's true nature. But they could also see how thoroughly they had been victimized by the same manipulation that had destroyed their relationship with me. During a private meeting arranged by Amanda, my parents made their most honest confession since my abandonment 3 years earlier. Without their attorney present or any legal pressure to perform, they acknowledged the terrible mistake of trusting Thomas and following his cruel advice about forcing my independence through abandonment. "We thought we were doing what was best for you," my mother said through tears. "Thomas convinced us that leaving you would make you stronger and more successful. He showed us articles about successful people who had overcome adversity. He made abandonment sound like a gift we were giving you." My father struggled to meet my eyes as he admitted their financial desperation had made them vulnerable to Thomas's manipulation. "We were facing bankruptcy and losing the house. Thomas offered to pay off our debts if we followed his parenting advice. We thought we could help you become independent while saving our family from financial ruin." Their confession revealed the complexity of their situation during my abandonment. While their actions had been objectively cruel and devastating, they had also been victims of sophisticated psychological manipulation by someone they trusted as family leader. Thomas had exploited their financial fears while convincing them that cruelty was actually compassion in disguise. "We've been in therapy for 3 years trying to understand what we did to you," my mother continued. "The therapist helped us see how Thomas had been controlling our thinking and decisions for decades. We started questioning everything he had ever told us about family loyalty and parental responsibility." My father produced a folder containing years of therapy notes, financial records, and written reflections documenting their journey toward understanding the abandonment and its consequences. They had been working to address their mistakes and prepare for eventual accountability, not just scrambling to access my wealth, as I had assumed. "We want to testify against Thomas in criminal court," my father said firmly. "We want to help the FBI build their case against him. We know we can't undo the damage we caused you, but we can help make sure he doesn't hurt anyone else." Their offer to cooperate with criminal prosecution represented a significant step toward accountability and justice. It also meant choosing their son over their financial security, since Thomas would likely retaliate by calling in all outstanding loans and destroying their remaining assets. They were willing to face financial ruin to do the right thing. Jessica and Brandon supported our parents' decision to cooperate with law enforcement, creating the first unified family position we had achieved in years. All 4 family members were prepared to testify against Thomas in both civil and criminal proceedings, providing prosecutors with comprehensive evidence of his criminal enterprise. The transformation of our legal case from defense against frivolous lawsuit to prosecution of serious criminal behavior created new opportunities for meaningful resolution. Instead of simply protecting my assets from family exploitation, we were working together to hold Thomas accountable for decades of abuse while rebuilding damaged relationships on honest foundations. Judge Patricia Martinez, presiding over our civil case, expressed unusual admiration for our family's courage in exposing such extensive criminal behavior. During final hearings, she noted that cases involving family manipulation and financial abuse rarely reached resolution because victims were too traumatized or intimidated to pursue justice comprehensively. The judge's ruling completely vindicated my position while ordering Thomas to pay substantial damages for conspiracy fraud and intentional infliction of emotional distress. More importantly, she issued permanent restraining orders, preventing Thomas from contacting any family members, and froze his assets pending criminal prosecution. But the legal victory felt less important than the family healing that had emerged from our shared commitment to truth and justice. My parents, Brandon and Jessica, had chosen honesty over comfort, accountability over denial, and family loyalty over financial security. Their courage provided the foundation for rebuilding relationships damaged by years of manipulation. As criminal prosecutors prepared their case against Thomas, our family began the difficult work of learning to trust each other again while processing decades of shared trauma. The legal battle had exposed painful truths, but it had also created opportunities for genuine healing based on honesty rather than manipulation. The scared 20-year-old who had been abandoned with nothing but an air mattress had grown into a successful adult strong enough to fight for justice, while extending forgiveness to family members who had been victimized by the same manipulation that had once destroyed his own life. 1 year after our legal victory, the transformation in our family relationships exceeded anything I could have imagined during those dark days of abandonment and betrayal. Uncle Thomas had been convicted on 14 federal charges, including embezzlement, fraud, conspiracy, and elder abuse. He received a 12-year prison sentence and was ordered to pay over $3 million in restitution to victims spanning 3 generations of family members. The criminal prosecution revealed that Thomas's manipulation extended far beyond our immediate family to include dozens of relatives, business associates, and community members who had suffered financial and emotional damage from his systematic abuse. His conviction provided closure and justice for victims who had remained silent for decades due to fear and shame. My parents underwent intensive family therapy to address their decision-making processes and develop healthy boundaries against future manipulation. They worked consistently to earn forgiveness through actions rather than words, demonstrating genuine commitment to rebuilding trust and understanding the impact of their choices on my emotional development. David and Sarah relocated to a modest apartment within their actual financial means, refusing any direct financial assistance from me while working to establish independence from family money for the first time in their adult lives. They both found employment matching their skills and education, discovering satisfaction in honest work that didn't depend on manipulating family relationships. The gradual reconciliation process required careful boundary setting and consistent communication about expectations and limitations. I established clear guidelines about financial discussions, family gathering protocols, and personal space requirements. They respected these boundaries while demonstrating through daily actions their commitment to healthy relationship dynamics. Brandon completed his college degree and began working as a high school guidance counselor, using his experience with family trauma to help teenagers navigate difficult home situations. His career choice reflected genuine growth from our shared experiences while providing meaningful work that contributed positively to his community. Jessica graduated with honors from her psychology program and started graduate school focused on family systems therapy and trauma recovery. She published academic papers about financial abuse and manipulation within families, using our experiences to educate mental health professionals about recognizing and treating similar cases. The restitution payments from Thomas's conviction provided resources for family members to pursue education, start businesses, and access mental health treatment without ongoing financial dependency. The recovered trust funds established by our grandfather finally served their intended purpose of supporting family members during life transitions and emergencies. Mrs. Patterson continued playing a grandmother role in my life, celebrating holidays and milestones with genuine joy about my success and family healing. Her consistent support during my darkest period had taught me that chosen family could provide stability when biological family failed, while biological family could earn their way back through consistent loving actions. My business continued thriving as Pulse Goal expanded into corporate wellness, programs, and international markets. The company's success felt more meaningful, knowing it provided employment for others while contributing positively to public health outcomes. Professional achievements gained deeper significance when balanced with healing personal relationships. Sarah Chen and I celebrated our engagement with a small ceremony that included my reconciled family members alongside chosen family friends who had supported me during the difficult years. Planning our wedding provided opportunities for my parents to demonstrate their growth by respecting our decisions and offering appropriate support without attempting to control or manipulate the celebration. The nonprofit organization I established to help young adults aging out of family support systems served over 200 people during its first year of operation. Many participants had experienced abandonment, abuse, or family breakdown similar to my own situation. Providing practical resources and emotional support helped transform my traumatic experiences into meaningful assistance for others facing similar challenges. Speaking opportunities at conferences and universities allowed me to share lessons learned about resilience, family relationships, and personal growth through adversity. Audiences responded powerfully to stories about overcoming abandonment while maintaining hope for family healing. The presentations helped reduce stigma around family estrangement while encouraging others to seek help and support. The most profound change involved my understanding of forgiveness as an active choice rather than a passive emotion. Forgiving my family required ongoing decisions to prioritize healing over resentment while maintaining boundaries that protected my emotional well-being. Forgiveness didn't mean forgetting or excusing their actions, but choosing growth over permanent grievance. My parents consistently demonstrated their commitment to earning trust through small daily actions rather than grand gestures. They remembered my birthday with thoughtful cards rather than expensive gifts. They respected my schedule and boundaries while offering appropriate support when requested. They acknowledged the impact of their decisions without making excuses or minimizing the damage caused. The legal battle had revealed that family loyalty required truth and accountability rather than blind obedience to authority figures. True family love meant protecting each other from harm while encouraging individual growth and independence. The lessons learned through our trauma provided wisdom that strengthened our relationships permanently. Jessica and I collaborated on a book project documenting our family's journey from manipulation and abandonment through legal accountability to genuine healing. The manuscript combined personal narrative with professional insights about family trauma recovery, offering hope and practical guidance for others facing similar situations. Brandon became my closest confidant among family members, our shared experience of Thomas's abuse creating deep understanding and mutual support. We developed traditions of regular communication and shared activities that built positive memories to balance the traumatic experiences from our youth. As I reflected on the extraordinary journey from abandoned 20-year-old to successful entrepreneur with healed family relationships, the most important lesson emerged clearly. Sometimes the people who hurt us most are themselves victims of manipulation and abuse. Real strength isn't about holding grudges or seeking revenge. It's about setting healthy boundaries while remaining open to genuine change and growth. True wealth isn't measured in dollars or business success, but in relationships built on honesty, respect, and mutual support. Family isn't defined by blood or obligation, but by people who choose to love and support each other consistently, especially during difficult times when it would be easier to abandon responsibility. The abandonment that once felt like the end of my world had ultimately forced me to develop inner strength, professional skills, and emotional wisdom that enriched every aspect of my life. The trauma transformed into purpose when used to help others facing similar challenges while building the healthy relationships I had always craved. Most importantly, I learned that forgiveness doesn't require forgetting or excusing harmful behavior. It means choosing healing over permanent resentment while maintaining boundaries that protect your well-being and growth. Sometimes the greatest gift you can give someone who has hurt you is the opportunity to earn redemption through consistent, loving actions over time. The scared young man sleeping on an air mattress in an empty house had grown into someone strong enough to fight for justice, while generous enough to offer forgiveness. The journey from abandonment to triumph taught me that real success means building a life filled with people who choose to love and support each other through both celebration and adversity. I'd love to hear from you about this story and your own experiences with family challenges. Have you ever faced a situation where someone you trusted manipulated or betrayed you? How did you find the strength to move forward and create boundaries while leaving room for healing? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. And if this story resonated with you, I'd be grateful if you'd like this video, subscribe to the channel for more inspiring stories, and share it with someone who might benefit from hearing about resilience and family healing. Thank you for taking this journey with me, and I wish you strength, wisdom, and healthy relationships in your own life.